Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. So Azerbaijan and Armenia are in a war right now. The war began early in the morning on the 27th of September. Today is the 17th of October and the war is still going on. While both sides blame each other for starting the war, based off of recent provocations made by Armenia, it's pretty evident who started it this time as well. Initially, I thought about reinstating the root causes of this conflict that has been going on between these two post Soviet countries, which is what inevitably led to this war, which is going on 27 years later. However, I realized that it would be repetitive and I don't want to waste much of your time because I do want to get into what's happening right now in Azerbaijan. But if you're interested in learning about the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, I would highly urge you to go and check out my previous video that I made on the conflict back in July. In addition to that, I have also included unbiased links in the description below for you guys to go and check out as well. Now, what led to this war mid-pandemic, you may wonder? Well, to put it bluntly, it's just that Azerbaijan got tired of Armenia's shit. Not only because they have broke the ceasefire several times, but because Armenia has absolutely abused the international law system. And right now, I just want to take a few minutes to explain to you how they've done that. When Nagorno-Karabakh was given to Armenia by the USSR, they started to classify Nagorno-Karabakh as NKR, which stood for Nagorno-Karabakh Republic. Now, according to Armenia, Nagorno-Karabakh is a country with the potential to join Armenia. However, if we bring international law into the picture, it is evident that no UN member, not even Armenia itself, legally recognizes Nagorno-Karabakh Republic as a country. In addition to that, according to international law, for a country to be classified as an independent nation, it needs to continually declare itself as its own state. The Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, however, has not done this because its Armenian government constantly says that it wants to be a part of Armenia. The intentions of the Armenian government and the Armenian government of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic points towards a larger plan that Armenia has in mind, and that is to attain a greater Armenia according to them. Greater Armenia would mean that not only would Armenia have intentions of taking over Azerbaijani lands, but also some parts of Georgia and some parts of their neighboring countries as well. Now, if that wasn't enough to convince you that Armenia is absolutely abusing the international law system, let me briefly talk about the UN resolutions that they absolutely dismissed back in 1993. UN Resolution 822 calls for Armenia to stop hostilities and the withdrawal of all occupying forces in Kalbajar and other recently occupied areas of the Republic of Azerbaijan. This resolution was made on the 3rd of April 1993 but was ignored by Armenia. UN Resolution 853 demands for Armenia to stop hostilities and to withdraw from occupying forces from Aghdam and other recently occupied areas of the Republic of Azerbaijan. This resolution also reaffirms UN Resolution 822. This was made on the 29th of July 1993 and yet again was ignored by Armenia. UN Resolution 874 calls for Armenia to cease fire while yet again demands them to stop hostilities and withdraw Armenian troops from recently occupied Azerbaijani districts of Fizuli, Jabrail, Gubadli, and other illegally occupied areas of Azerbaijan. This resolution, like the previous one, reaffirms UN resolutions 822 and 853. This resolution was made on the 14th of October, and you guessed it, Armenia ignored it again. UN Resolution 884 condemns the recent violations of the ceasefire established between the parties, which resulted in the resumption of hostilities. This resolution calls upon the government of Armenia to use its influence to achieve compliance by the Armenians of the Nagorno-Karabakh region that belongs to the Republic of Azerbaijan with resolutions 822, 853, and 874. Calls to end hostilities and withdraw Armenian troops from the Azerbaijani district of Zangilan and reaffirms UN resolutions 822, 823, and 874. This was the last UN resolution that was yet again dismissed by Armenia. For years, Azerbaijan has tried to propose peaceful resolutions with Armenia that occupied Azerbaijani lands illegally. However, they were constantly dismissed. The president of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, even admitted in an interview with Al Jazeera that he stopped trying to negotiate with Armenia since last year.
Actually, negotiations stopped because after his statement that Karabakh is Armenia, I said there's no room for negotiations. But Minsk Group co-chairs were making requests to me that Azerbaijan show maybe more, understanding with respect to the fact that Armenian government is new and maybe they do not completely control their emotions and their words. And I said, okay, let's try. We want to find a peaceful solution. Therefore, we waited for so many years, and probably negotiations would have been continued if not for this destructive approach. And after that statement, I had a meeting with the Armenian Prime Minister, but they were absolutely meaningless. They were formal. He was telling me that they are not going to give territories back.
Hence, after 3 provocations from Armenia, Azerbaijan finally decided that it is time for a war. It has been nearly a month since the war started, and since it began, Azerbaijan has faced victory in terms of liberating their lands. Guys, so it's the 20th of October as I'm recording this, and it's just been like a few minutes since it has been announced that the Azerbaijani army has managed to liberate Zangilan. So this is extremely wonderful for all of us, and this map actually illustrates the part of Nagorno-Karabakh that has been illegally occupied by Armenian troops for the past 27 years, and the parts of Nagorno-Karabakh that have been liberated by the Azerbaijani armies. Azerbaijan still plans on liberating the lands that were illegally occupied because, for my foreign viewers, I do want to reinstate that Armenia illegally occupied 20% of Azerbaijani land. Prior to the protests that took place almost 30 years ago, Armenians and Azerbaijanis lived in peace. In fact, Azerbaijan's president Ilham Aliyev even stated in his interview with Al Jazeera that till this date, there are still more than 1,000 Armenians that still reside in Azerbaijan. And the president even mentioned that once the lands are liberated, Azerbaijanis and Armenians can reside together in peace in Nagorno-Karabakh, because unlike Armenia, Azerbaijan has no intentions of killing Armenian civilians, which I will get to in the next part of this video. The bittersweet truth is that as Armenia started to notice that Azerbaijani lands are being liberated by Azerbaijan, as a form of retaliation and probably even distraction, Armenia has started to attack civilian areas of Azerbaijan. Since the beginning of the war, Armenian forces have targeted densely populated civilian areas such as Goranboy, Tartar, Aghdam, the part which isn't occupied illegally by Armenia, Berda, Mingachevir, Yevlakh, Absheron, and the latest attack, which was yet again in Ganja city only 6 days after they last attacked, killing 9 people, was an attack in Ganja city yet again yesterday night that ended up killing 15 people and ended up injuring 52 civilians. Now, if you're a foreign viewer or you're just objective, you must be wondering, were there any Armenians that were hurt during the clash between both these countries? Now, I can't tell you for sure about the Armenians that decided to stay back in Nagorno-Karabakh during the war between Azerbaijan and Armenia. However, I can confirm that buses were sent from Yerevan to basically take the civilians of these illegally occupied lands back to Yerevan and other parts of Armenia where they can seek refuge.
Residents of the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region take refuge in Armenia in the wake of heavy shelling and as fighting continues to rage along the front line.
Շատ լավ է որ հյուրեր ենք ընդունում, հարգում ենք բոլորին, մենք սիրում ենք մեր հյուրերին, մեր ժողովրդին, մեր հայրենիքը, մենք հպարտ ենք մեր ժողովրդով.
So that basically adds more to Armenians being prepared while Azerbaijanis were not. Azerbaijani civilians were absolutely not prepared to get hit overnight. Because let me reinstate something once again. Nagorno-Karabakh is the war zone right now. Although I feel absolutely horrible that civilians from both sides are dying, the Armenian civilians were given a heads up. Azerbaijanis were not. Azerbaijanis that were sleeping in their house at 3 a.m. in Ganja when a missile hit them and probably just ended up dying in their sleep were not informed. And the world fails to fucking see this. Now, since the war begun, Armenians started to go on social media and make this territorial conflict about religion.
Мы хотим сказать, чтобы все знали, тут идет война не только против армян, это, наверное, против христиан война идет.
They keep on stating, even to this day, that this is a Christian versus Muslim war. Both my countries, Azerbaijan and India, are extremely secular. People that have been so inclined and so used to reading about Islamic terrorism on the internet cannot help but say, oh, I'm pretty sure these guys that have a high population of Muslims are bombing them and attacking them, which is the other way around, and it's absolutely insane if you ask me. A couple of days after the war began, this was a picture that was shared on Armenia's official page on Twitter. Now just imagine if an imam was holding a Quran instead of this priest holding a Bible. What would the world say? The world would lose its shit. But because it's Armenia, nobody wants to bat an eye. Celebrities from the United States also started to ignorantly endorse Armenia. Mia Khalifa, somebody I started to actually admire this year, stated that she is still being educated about the conflict, but she still supports Armenia. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Jack Black, Elton John, and Cardi B joined the bandwagon. However, after Elton John posted on his Instagram that he sympathizes with Armenia, he ended up getting a lot of backlash, which resulted in him taking down the post and making a new Instagram post, which basically stated that he has visited both countries, he's been treated really well in both countries, and he just wants peace between Azerbaijan and Armenia. But he did not apologize, he just retracted his statement. Cardi B, however, did something that is extremely insightful, if you ask me. She posted an Instagram story that asked people to donate to an Armenian fund. So people started to call her out as to, why are you being a hypocrite? Why are you supporting terrorism? And Cardi B responded saying,
Hey guys, so I woke up this morning and I'm seeing that me and my baby father is getting attacked. And yesterday we were trying to sell a property that we have in Atlanta. Not a big house, but we invest a lot in a lot of properties, and we're just trying to sell it because of the market and everything. And our consultant is Armenian, and he was really in distress because he's saying that there's a lot of terrible genocides going on in his country. And he said, "Can you please post something and for a cause, for a good cause for Armenia?" And we say, "Sure, why not? We love to support everybody." And then I wake up and I see a lot of people from Azerbaijan is, writing me things, writing me stuff. And I did not know that this is a war between two countries. And when I have a lot of Armenian friends, I don't have friends from Azerbaijan. But when I went to that country, I literally got treated like a princess. And I thought the country was so beautiful, so progress, so historic. And Armenia, to me, I've seen Armenia in pictures, and I think it's the same way. I think both this country is a beautiful place for tourism because it's so historic. There's so much things that you want to know. It's both interesting countries. And my wish is, since I did a little bit of research today, because you guys left me so much comments, my wish is that both the countries would just be at peace. You know what I'm saying? No little land. There's no little land. You guys already have big pieces of land. There's no little tiny land that is worth chaos, death, fighting, especially in this year this is such a bad year. There's a lot of sickness. I feel like God is trying to give us a message, and it's just like I hope there's peace over there. I'm not picking sides. I love both the countries, and I'm sorry that I offended anybody. That is not my style. I don't like that type of stuff. And I'm sorry that I offended anybody, that we offended anybody. And we just really wish peace, and that's it.
for nearly 2 weeks now, my friends and I have been trying to send emails to YouTubers and online celebrities in order to get Azerbaijan's story out. Yet we have no commentary YouTubers nor YouTubers that make educational content talk about what's going on in Azerbaijan. We're not losing hope though, and we'll still continue to try to contact people. However, it's rather disheartening, if you ask me, that commentary and educational based YouTubers would rather spend time researching about drama between James Charles and Tati Westbrook rather than people that are dying in Ganja City. Like, it blows my mind. A lot of Armenians have come to me on social media saying that I'm biased towards Azerbaijan. And to that, I would like to say that I talk about what I see. For nearly a month, all I've been seeing is children becoming orphans and people being killed left and right. Just to put into perspective, a couple of days ago, there was a funeral where a family of 3 gathered to bury their loved ones that was killed from a missile attack in Tartar. While the funeral was happening, another missile was launched by Armenian forces on this civilian family of 3 and ended up killing them as well. So if sympathizing with those said orphans or people that have lost their loved ones or the people that have died without being involved in the conflict and being miles away from the war zone makes me biased, so be it, I'm fucking biased. Due to this strong belief I hold, along with many other Indians that have been living in Azerbaijan for far longer than I have, we as the Indian community in Azerbaijan gathered a small amount of money to help the Azerbaijani soldiers that are fighting day and night to protect all of us and liberate Azerbaijani lands that were illegally occupied nearly 30 years ago. Now, I would like to end this video by inserting a clip sent to me by my friend who volunteered as a press photographer within the war zone. I'm hoping that with this video, you can see that Armenian forces do not target Azerbaijani forces only. They target Azerbaijani civilians and journalists as well. I hope that you can see that people are not up and against Armenians for no reason. In fact, I don't even think each and every Armenian that is out there thinks that all Azerbaijanis should die. I do think there are smart people out there who acknowledge that what is happening right now is absolutely abhorrent. Look at what your government is doing to innocent civilians in Azerbaijan. Look at what your government is doing to your civilians. Your government is literally drafting young boys to go and fight with trained professionals because they constantly denied international law. And therefore, we have this war that we are all victim of. So I really hope you guys like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.
Olduğumuz yere çıkıyor değil mi? Olduğumuz yere buraya. Attılar hal-hazırda. Sakin gider.
Gel! Tespit! Gel beni! Gel!
Yaxın getmə, patlaya bilər. Gördüyünüz kimi orada mərmi düşübdü, lakin patlamayıbdı. Attılar. Yaxın mı?